The Untold Revolution: How Black Women Entrepreneurs Are Reshaping Business in America. Welcome. I want to start today by acknowledging that what you're about to hear isn't just information, it's transformation. It's the story of a revolution happening right before our eyes, yet largely invisible in mainstream narratives. I recently had the extraordinary privilege of sitting down with Daisha Crowder, a visionary researcher and advocate whose groundbreaking work is fundamentally rewriting our understanding of entrepreneurship in America. Daisha isn't merely documenting the business landscape, she's actively reshaping it through her tireless advocacy for Black women business owners. Her research illuminates hidden pathways to success that challenge everything we thought we knew about power, innovation, and economic transformation. What she shared with me was nothing short of revolutionary, and I stand before you today forever changed by her insights. We've all heard the standard American entrepreneurship narrative, haven't we? It's practically embedded in our cultural DNA. Anyone with a good idea, relentless hustle, and unwavering determination can build a successful business. The playing field is level, the opportunities are equal. Success is simply a matter of individual effort and merit. But what if that story isn't just incomplete? What if it fundamentally misses the most exciting transformation happening in American business today? What if I told you that the very group facing some of the highest barriers to entrepreneurial success is simultaneously driving the most significant growth and innovation in our economy? This is the counterintuitive truth that emerged from my conversation with Daisha Crowder. Black women entrepreneurs, despite facing persistent systemic barriers like dramatically lower access to funding and significantly higher business failure rates, are actually driving much of the growth and transformation in America's entrepreneurial landscape. The numbers are staggering. Black women now account for 89% of net new women owned firms established daily. Their businesses are seeing average revenue increases of 2.7%, comma, outpacing both men and other demographic groups. This isn't just growth, it's a revolution happening right before our eyes, yet largely unrecognized in mainstream business narratives. But here's what makes this story truly remarkable, truly disruptive. Black women entrepreneurs aren't just building individual businesses. They're creating entirely new models of success based not on cutthroat competition, but on collaboration, not on individual achievement alone, but on collective uplift, not just on profit, but on purpose and community impact. Let me share with you three powerful insights from my conversation with Daisha that challenge everything we think we know about entrepreneurship in America. First, Black women entrepreneurs are leading a powerful movement, not only growing their own businesses at record rates, but transforming entire ecosystems by prioritizing collaboration, mentorship, and community infrastructure. They're not just building businesses, they're building tables and inviting others to sit with them. Second, despite controlling $3.9 trillion dollars in revenue and owning 35% of US employer firms, women still receive less funding than men, only 45% approval versus 55%, and face higher denial rates of 25% compared to 19% for men. These gaps are even wider for Black founders. The system remains deeply unequal, yet success continues despite these barriers. Third, companies led by diverse teams, including those headed by Black women, often outperform their peers due to greater creativity, innovation, and resilience developed through overcoming adversity. Diversity isn't just a moral imperative, it's a competitive advantage. Now, let me bring these insights to life through some remarkable stories Dacia shared with me. Picture this: New Orleans, 2023. The Women's Business Enterprise National Council Conference brings together thousands of woman owned businesses, many led by Black founders, to strategize on scaling impact. The energy is electric, the determination palpable. These entrepreneurs face persistent funding gaps and limited access to capital compared to their male counterparts. But instead of resignation, they respond with revolution. The conversations aren't about individual success strategies, they're about building collective infrastructure, mentorship programs, shared market opportunities, advocating for systemic change rather than just individual achievement. One attendee tells Dacia, I used to think success meant getting mine. Now I know it means building ours. Another shares, my grandmother taught me to make a dollar out of 15 cents. I'm teaching my daughter to build a bank. The results of this collective approach. From 2019 to 2023, woman owned firms outpaced men's growth by over 94%, with employment up more than 250%. Average revenues for Black women owned businesses rose nearly one third during this period. This wasn't accidental. It was the direct result of women entrepreneurs responding to economic volatility post pandemic by creating collaborative networks rather than competing individually. This approach has set a blueprint for future generations around ecosystem building among underrepresented entrepreneurs. It challenges the myth of the lone wolf entrepreneur and offers a more sustainable, community centered model of success. But the challenges remain significant, as revealed by comprehensive research from the National Bureau of Economic Research. Their analysis of startup founding and funding rates across gender and race from 1996 to 2020 reveals stark disparities. Men start new ventures at a rate approximately 64% higher than women. Black entrepreneurs start businesses at a rate 22% lower than white entrepreneurs. Only about 2.4% of venture capital backed startups are run by Black or Hispanic founders, despite these groups representing more than 10% of all entrepreneurs. And minority run startups face failure rates approximately 20% higher than those run by white founders. Yet here's the twist that challenges conventional wisdom. When female founded venture backed startups do secure funding, they show exit rates nearly double their representation. In other words, when given equal resources and support, these businesses don't just succeed, they excel. This higher than average exit success demonstrates the untapped potential that exists when underrepresented founders are given resources and support on equal footing with majority groups. It strengthens arguments for increased equity and inclusion within startup finance, not just as a matter of fairness, but as a smart business strategy. Dacia also shared how digital tools are transforming the landscape for women entrepreneurs, particularly during and after the pandemic. According to Success Magazine's profile on modern female entrepreneurship trends, digital platforms have been pivotal in enabling rapid scaling for many recent ventures founded and led by diverse teams. These digital tools have allowed entrepreneurs to bypass traditional gatekeepers and institutional hurdles. When brick and mortar operations were disproportionately impacting minority communities and business owners during the pandemic, strategic adoption of social media and e commerce enabled direct to consumer reach. One Black woman entrepreneur told Dacia, LinkedIn wouldn't return my calls. Instagram built my $1 million business. Another said, I couldn't get a bank loan, but I got 10,000 customers through TikTok. The results have been remarkable. Startup activity rates rose from an average annualized base near 6% pre pandemic to more than 10% post pandemic. The number, profitability, and diversity within these founder led companies surged accordingly, as did visibility inspiring next generation leaders. What these stories reveal is a profound shift in how entrepreneurship works in America. The old model, based on individual achievement, cutthroat competition, and exclusive networks, is being challenged by a new approach centered on collaboration, community, and collective success. This isn't just a feel good story, it's a fundamental reimagining of what business success looks like. And it's being led by the very people who have been most excluded from traditional pathways to entrepreneurial success. As Daisha emphasized in our conversation, this shift challenges us to rethink not just who can be successful entrepreneurs, but how entrepreneurship itself should function in our society. Black women entrepreneurs are rejecting the notion that they must conform to traditional, often masculine models of business leadership to succeed. Instead, they're creating new models that honor community, collaboration, and care alongside profit and growth. They're demonstrating that vulnerability and interdependence can be sources of strength, not weakness. They're showing us that saying no to exploitative systems and yes to collective uplift isn't just personally healing, it's good business. They're protecting their peace while building their purpose. They're turning survival wisdom into supportive infrastructure for others. This is what healing looks like at scale. This is what happens when we redefine strength, not as solitary achievement, but as collective empowerment. So, where do we go from here? How do we support and accelerate this entrepreneurial revolution? I challenge you today. Examine your own assumptions about what entrepreneurial success looks like. Ask yourself who you're learning from, investing in, mentoring, and amplifying. How will you use your unique voice and your network to not only build your own table, but invite others who've historically been excluded? What would happen if we all committed to one tangible action this week to support a Black woman entrepreneur? What if we recognize that their success isn't peripheral to the American economy? It's central to its future. The entrepreneurial revolution being led by Black women offers us all a new vision of what business can be: more collaborative, more inclusive, more sustainable, and ultimately more successful. In the words of the African proverb that Daisha shared with me, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The future of entrepreneurship in America isn't about lone geniuses building empires. It's about communities creating ecosystems where everyone can thrive. It's about recognizing that true strength comes not from independence, but from interdependence. This is the untold revolution. This is the future being built by Black women entrepreneurs across America. And it's time we not only see it, but join it. The question isn't whether this revolution will continue. The question is, will you be part of it?